This video is brought to you by Miniature Market. Thousands of board games, discounted prices, miniaturemarket.com.
Hello my friends, it's the Game Boy Geek here, and today we're going to be going to a magical kingdom. We'll be seeking out different things like gems or apples, and we might be giving those apples to other players and increasing our friendship. Yay! But we might also be taking those apples and making pies with them that we might be throwing at each other in pie fights. Today we're talking about My Little Scythe. This is from Stonemaier Games. Takes about 45 minutes to play. It's for 1 to 6 players, ages 8 and up. This is a family style Euro game. So let me show you how it works and I'll see you on the other side. Now I don't typically show inserts, but this one's over the top good, so I wanted to point it out. It has a nice cover here. The board would sit right on top of this, and then under here you have all of the miniatures, all of their pieces, and even some extra spaces for expansions. And then under that it has spots for each of the little things, the different cards, and even in the spots here it actually has little indentations as to like what type of cards or things go here. Excellent insert. And there's even a little guide that comes with it. It tells you which one to put where, how do they go, and where do things go. Now the miniatures in this game are not really miniature, they're pretty big and they're gorgeous, so I'm going to just highlight all of the miniatures here. And there's even a painting guide that tells you about each of the miniature characters and shows you their color schemes and such to give you some ideas on what to do if you wanted to paint them. Now here's the back of the game board. I don't often show this, but when the people put awesome art like this on there, I always like to show it because it just looks so cool. And this is a very large 6-panel board. And here's what it looks like when it's flipped over onto the play side. Each player is going to get their own play mat, and on that mat they have 4 trophies of their color. This is the red player. The object of the game is to be able to place these 4 trophies out onto the board. Now in this case we're playing a 4-player game. We have those players set up. There's a varied setup depending on the amount of players, and what is on the board and where is also varied. But up in the upper right hand corner, these are 8 possible objectives that you can place your 4 trophies out. If you complete them, we'll go over what all these are a little bit later. On your turn, you're going to take your pawn and place it on one of these actions. On your first turn, it will be off the map, but let's say you want to move. This allows you to move both of your miniatures. Now at the beginning of the game, you're on your base, and you can move each seeker up to 2 if they're not carrying any resources like apples or gems. But let's say it was a little later in the game and my seekers were on these spots. If you want to transport any of the resources on where you're at, you can only move 1. So this player could say move 1 like this, and then this player here can move any or all of these, again 1. Now this is a portal, it has a pink outline, and there's a bunch of them in the game and they're all adjacent. So if this player wanted to move and move with some of these, they could take these, let's just say they just take 1, and they can maybe say move to this portal like that. Now, let's say later on there were 2 gems here, and on your turn you moved again, you could actually move right into this castle, 2 and 2, and as long as you can move into the castle with 4 gems like this, you can do a delivery. Otherwise, you can't go where the castle is. Now, if you remember, I told you at the beginning of the game, you're trying to get 4 trophies out. One of the ways to do that is what I just explained, which was delivering 4 gems to the castle. You can also do that with 4 of the apples, which is that other resource you've seen. Another thing you can do is seek. Now remember, you're only doing 1 action on your turn, but you can move this, let's say, to any one of these 2 spots. Whichever spot you put, that's the dice you're going to get. So if we went here, there'd be 2 red, a blue, and a gold. Now the red dice are trying to find those red apples, the blue ones are trying to find the blue gems, and the gold ones are doing quests. So you'd roll those dice, and the color of the die that is rolled will actually tell you what area on the board those things go. So in this case, we're going to be putting an apple in the blue swamp region and the gray mountainous region. So you'd take one from the supply, and you'd place it here. Now if you put it on a spot that has an opponent's seeker on it, you'd then move your counter up the friendship track up by 1, and this is one of the ways to score those trophies is if you get all the way to 8. And if you're able to do that, you'd place it right there. You'd do the same for the other apple, for the gem, and for the quest. This is going to put out a quest token, which we'll talk about what these do later, but this is the region, the red region that it will go in. Now on your next turn, you could take a different action on the same thing. So we have a seek here, but we're using a different spot, and that would be okay. You just can't go in the same spot again. In this case, we could take 2 blue, 1 red, and 1 gold die. Other actions you can take are make. You could go here and you could turn in 2 apples on a spot that your seeker's on to gain 2 pies. And on the right side of the board is a pie track, so you would go up 2, and just like the friendship, if you go up to 8, you could place a trophy, in which you would place it in that spot. If you went to this spot, you could turn in an apple and a gem to get a power-up. These power-ups come in 2 types, blue and green. And if you get one of each of those over the course of the game, you have those 2 different power-ups and you can put a trophy there. Now when you get that, you actually pick 3 of them, you get to choose one and you put the others underneath. And if a blue one will update this blue make action, where a green one will update this green move action, and it underlines what's better. So before you needed 2 apples to get 2 pies, and now you just need 1. So this is a way of enhancing your actions throughout the game. The last action I haven't talked about is here. You would spend 2 gems from any spots on your seekers, and you would get one of these spell cards. Now you'd get one of these cards from the top of the spell deck, and that's another way you can get one of your trophies up here, is by having 3 of those cards in front of you. Now those spell cards help you in pie fights, which happen whenever you move and you come into a new area with another player's seekers. There's going to be a pie fight. Now when that happens, the attacking player loses 1 friendship because, hey, who wants to start pie fights? Not nice people. Now during a pie fight, you'll want to see how many pies each of the player has, because that's the most pies they'll be able to throw at each other. Now both players will get one of these pie wheels, and they're going to secretly say how many pies they are going to throw, but those will be deducted from their pie count. You can also secretly add one of these spell cards, which will be anywhere between 2 and 5. There's more 2s than anything. There's the least amount of 5s. And you would put this would add to the amount of pies that you're going to throw. And then you'd add up this with how many you threw, and whoever wins the pie fight. And again, the winner would be able to place one of their trophies there. Remember, you're trying to get 4 out to end the game and hopefully win. Now only the player that had 1 would have been able to put that trophy there. If it's a tie, the attacker would be able to do it. The loser, let's say we lost, would go back to their base here. It's the only time you go back there. And when you get there, you either get 2 pies or a magic spell card. Now we talked about quests a little bit when we rolled this quest die to put it in the red spot there. If you're there, you can, after moving, you can take this token, and then you take one of these quest cards. Now here we see a certain quest. We see Sir Neff Rises. And here we can either challenge him, which is pay 2 pies, but gain a magic spell and a friendship, or we can join him, which is gain 1 magic spell and 2 gems, but lose 2 friendship, or no thanks, we can gain 1 magic spell for visiting and return this quest face down to the bottom. But they're always different. See those challenge him, join him, no thanks? Well, some cards have different things. We have friends in peril. Do we send aid? Place 2 gems on a space occupied by another player, gain 2 friendship and 1 pie. Or do we have better things to do? Gain 2 gems but lose a friendship, and so on and so forth. So these cards are different things that you can choose throughout the game. Now at the beginning of the game, everybody also got a personality card. It looked like this face down, and they secretly look at it, but they keep it face down throughout the game. And this person's personality is healthy. With apple delivery, they can do it with 3 apples instead of 4. Or maybe you're social, where you can get to put your trophy for 7 friendship instead of 8. And so on and so forth. They just do different things. They give you a different thing to go for that's easier for you during the game. Now we're about to talk about trophies and winning the game, and on this friendship track, if you're ever at 2, 1, or 0, you can never place a trophy until your friendship is higher. Now by default, you can only place 1 trophy in each spot, and you can only place 1 trophy per turn, but there can be multiple people having trophies in the same spot. Now once one player has gotten their 4th trophy, we go in turn order, and every other player without 4 trophies takes 1 more turn, and in this turn they can actually place more than 1 trophy because it's the last turn, and whoever has 4 wins. If there's more than 1, whoever has a higher friendship wins. And if it's still tied, then the one who holds the most gems and apples on the map wins, and if you're still tied, then you're all victors. Now this is a 1 to 6 player game, and you can play it solo by adding this thing called the Auto Mounty, or you can add the Auto Mounty to games with multiple players. In case you don't want to pick on each other, you can pick on the Auto Mounty. Also, an older person can cooperate with a younger child by playing 1 player against that Auto Mounty. And you can also play a team variant, which is teams of 2 or 3 players against 2 or 3 Auto Mounties. I'm not going to go over all the details of this, but it is available, and you could probably download the rulebook and check it out in further detail. All right, well, there is my little Scythe. First of all, Stonemaier Games really knocked it out of the park with the production here. The art is gorgeous. Even the back of the board is done and looks nice. The components are amazing. The miniatures are huge. I don't even know if you can call them miniatures. The part that they came with the painting guide if you wanted to teach someone how to paint, and the insert is so well done and even leaves room for expansions. They just went all out on this production, and it really shows. This is an absolutely beautiful game to have on the table and draws you right into it. Now, this is being called a family game inspired by mechanisms from Scythe. And I would absolutely agree with this. This is not a kid's game. This is a family game for sure. In fact, I'd even go along and say that it's a great stepping stone to Scythe. So if you have some players that are starting to get into gaming, this is a good sort of family style game that once you teach them this, then you could probably bring out Scythe, and a lot of the mechanisms will be somewhat familiar to them. Of course, the amount of decisions you can make in Scythe is just earth-shattering compared to this, but it does lay that groundwork for that, and I think it's awesome. So let me talk about some of the other things I liked about the game. Focusing on those 4 goals for the trophies. Again, feels sort of Scythe where you're trying to go for the specific goals. What am I going to focus on? And as the game goes on, you start to more narrowly focus. As the board changes, as the game changes, you're also going to be finding different, maybe possibly you were thinking about going for this goal, but then you'll go for something else. And it's sort of that race to 4 trophies generally. I like the friendship by helping others. It helps move the game along by bringing things out where people are, and it gives you friendship, which is super important because it is the #1 tiebreaker, which ties happen often in this game. Or I like that if you go too low on those, that you can't get trophies. I think that's really cool, because if you just go running around throwing pies at everybody, you're going to be going down in the friendship, and you're not going to be able to get those done. And I like how that sort of balances things there. I like those quests. They bring sort of that story-like element to the table, similar to, say, the encounter cards inside, where you got 3 choices. Do you want to give up some things to get some other things? Or do you just want to get this other thing? And they all have sort of funny stories sort of around what's going on there. Now, about the game itself and the complexity of it. I was a little afraid that this was going to be a little bit too simple, but it really isn't. This game doesn't feel too simple at all, even for gamers. So it really felt like, wow, I've played an excellent family game. Now, I'm not even going to call this a gateway game, because I probably wouldn't bring this out with people that have not played any modern board games. That's, in my opinion, what a gateway game is. I can bring a game to someone who doesn't know what modern board games are, and they'll play it, and it'll be easy to teach. They'll recognize it, but yet it's a very great game. This is a great game, but I'd say it's more of a next step game. I would say you could bring this out after some people have played some gateway games, and they've kind of got some gamer IQ going, and they've seen some familiarity of some things. Bring this, because if you just bring this up in front of grandma and grandpa, there's a lot more here going on underlying of what you're trying to do than meets the eye. As gamers, we always just think everything's simple because we've been playing games for so long, and we look at this, go, oh yeah, it's simple, it's just this, and this. But to people that don't play games, this still could be a little bit intimidating. So get that sort of a little bit there, but it's not hard. But I'm just saying, this isn't one you'll just throw at grandma who's never played anything but Crazy Eights, you know what I mean? So there are different level of family games. I would call this a gateway plus or a next step game after they've played some gateway games. I love the climactic ending. Possibly once that person gets 4 trophies, then everyone else gets 1 more turn, and you can get 2 trophies that round. So much like inside, the first person to finish all their stars or trophies here might not be the one to win, because someone else could come in, possibly, it's hard to do, but get 2 trophies on their single last turn and end up winning the game. Overall, I really, really enjoyed this game. We all did. It's fantastic. It's well designed. It's well thought out. If you've played Scythe before, it's so familiar, yet so different at the same time. It's so streamlined and so easy to play. And you have the same feelings of Scythe, where it's like tense, and you're trying to build this sort of little engine and go here, then go there, then do this. You're looking at the board, you're looking at the trophies, you're trying to triangulate at the end of the game, and it gives you similar feelings to Scythe, but in a much more smaller, easily digestible, shorter package that does look beautiful. So I highly recommend the game. The only negative is the dice themselves. I actually love how they made the dice different colors, where the reds are for the apples, the blue for the gems, and the yellow is for the quests. But the downside to that is when you roll the dice and you're looking at them, some of the colors are really hard to tell unless you're not in like extremely well lit rooms. Even if you're in medium lit rooms, we were having trouble discerning some of the colors on those. You really got to look and then look around the other die and make sure you know which color to actually put the thing in. That's my only negative there, but overall, I love the game. So it's getting a Saxophone Serenade. It's staying in my gaming library. So we're gonna go give it a Saxophone Serenade in just a minute, but this has been the Game Boy Geek, helping you find and enjoy the next board game you'll love.
This video was sponsored by Miniature Market's Review Corner. The Review Corner features podcasts, video, and written game reviews by gamers for gamers. Miniature Market, the online gaming superstore. Thousands of board games, discounted prices. Check them out at miniaturemarket.com.